For the first time in a long time, it's a brand new edition of Nate's Notebook. And today I'll be breaking down Robert Morris football's loss against North Alabama from this past weekend. And we will also be hearing from head coach himself, Bernard Clark. The Colonials have struggled mightily on the road to start the season, losing all 3 games against Central Michigan, an FBS opponent, North Carolina A&T, and now North Alabama. And it didn't help that it was a 7 p.m. start, allowing the Colonials to sort of wait around throughout the day, and they had a lackadaisical start as Parker Driggers took the opening kick 58 yards into Colonials territory, and then he would score moments later. Clark spoke on his team's effort in the first few minutes of the game and how they struggled to set the tone.
That's the biggest issue. We started out slow, and my whole talk was, hey, we got to start out fast. And then we give up that big run on kickoff return for them, and they return it to our plus 40. And you can't play arena football in this league. So that's what it felt like we were playing a lot of times, especially.
Although the Colonials responded right away after that early touchdown to make it 7-7, the Colonials have not been a first-half team. They've only combined 17 points on the road this season in the first half across their 3 games. That's Central Michigan, North Carolina A&T, and now North Alabama. And North Alabama would respond as well. A 99-yard touchdown run, the longest in Big South history for Parker Driggers, as he would go on. And then in the ensuing kickoff, a special teams gaffe once again. Colonials being very costly. Jonathan Wynn on the kick return, fumbling the ball. The Lions, opportunistic, were able to score. Colonials cannot make those mistakes from here on out. But surprisingly, even though the Colonials were down 35-10 going into halftime, Coach Clark still believed in his team and thought they had a fighting chance.
Hi, Chris. I want them battling 60-plus minutes. Our guys are doing a great job of battling 60-plus minutes. They know they have an opportunity to win the game as long as there's time on the clock. So, and that's the attitude they went in there with. That's when I called them up at halftime. Everybody thought I was going to yell and scream at them. No, that's not what I did. I just told them, I said, hey, guys, we can come from behind.
The Colonials were able to make some noise starting in the second half. In the third quarter, they scored twice through the air. James Westry, an 18-yard touchdown reception, and Elijah Jackson, 22 yards out of the backfield on a reception from George Martin. The Colonials' pass game has been exceptional so far this season. After only 8 passing attempts against Central Michigan to start the year, they have really been sound moving forward. A lot of different weapons in the wide receiver game. George Martin has started to connect and hit those guys. Coach Clark has talked about how this team has improved over the past few games and how they also need to get that running game going with Elijah Jackson to make a more balanced approach.
Right, Chris, we're still trying to get our running game going. I know you hear me talk about it every week. We're still trying to get to where we're consistently getting those 3, 4, 5 yards of pop. And until that happens, we're going to have to utilize our passing attack. And George is doing a good job of finding the open guy. And like you said, with Westry and Hicks and even don't forget our tight ends with Moss and Dillon, those guys also have been good weapons for him. He's been able to find them, and Jack's the other guy that we talk about.
Through the first 5 games, Robert Morris's offensive production has come basically through the air. 8 touchdowns compared to 3 touchdowns on the ground through the rush game. And 2 of those touchdowns came from George Martin himself. The Colonials moving forward need to find a better balance between the run and the pass. Elijah Jackson has the capability to do so. He's elusive, he can make people miss, he's effective. He's a guy that has a lot of speed as well. The Colonials on the outside in the pass game have a lot of weapons. DeAndre Hicks, 4 touchdowns so far this year, leads the team. James Westry, the redshirt freshman, 224 receiving yards, also leads that team in that category. The Colonials are 115th in the FCS so far this year. On the ground, 78.2 yards per game. Absolutely terrible. Now the pass game a little bit better, 79th in the FCS, 193 yards per game. They can do a lot better. There's a lot of improvement, and there's 5 games left to do so. They take on Gardner-Webb at 2-14 coming in. They are all coming off of back-to-back losses against Campbell and Monmouth. Colonials have the opportunity to take the next step, find that offense. They'll also need some help defensively as well on the road as they are looking for their first Big South road win in history. So that'll close it on this edition of Nate's Notebook.